Flaws in the foster care system lead a judge to order Texas to pay huge fines, but the state's pushing back. The fight over keeping kids safe, and what comes next. Money and jobs coming to Texas as the state aims to lead the way in semiconductors.
These are the chips that we need right now if we're going to be able to compete in what's becoming a more dangerous world.
We look at how bipartisan work could boost both the economy and national security. And a flood of campaign cash pours into the race for U.S. Senate.
Democrats nationwide do not like Ted Cruz and would love nothing more than to defeat Ted Cruz.
We dig deeper into the comparisons and contrasts to the last big challenge for Cruz.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. Fireworks in the long-running fight over failures in Texas' foster care system. This week, a federal judge slammed the state with a daily fine of $100,000 over failing to investigate claims of abuse and neglect. And the state is pushing back. This lawsuit is stretching into its 13th year. So let's back up a bit so we can better understand what's happening now. In 2015, U.S. District Judge Janice Jack found the state's child welfare system to be unconstitutional and said children were leaving it worse off than when they entered. Jack issued several dozen court-ordered reforms called remedial orders. Those included steps to protect children from sexual abuse and other measures to try and fix the problems in how the foster care system functioned. Twice already, she found the state in contempt for violating these remedial orders. And last fall, the attorneys representing the children asked her to hold the state in contempt yet again. Avery Travis has been following this case for several years. Avery, this latest penalty is aimed at a different aspect of the foster care system, right?
Yes, a lot of the focus thus far has been on the Department of Family and Protective Services. But in a scathing ruling released last week, Judge Jack hammered the Texas Health and Human Services Commission, particularly its Provider Investigations Unit, which is tasked with investigating claims of abuse and neglect from people with intellectual or developmental disabilities living in state-licensed facilities, some of whom are in the permanent care of the state's foster system. The judge says they are failing to consider the safety of the children during these investigations and aren't meeting the 30-day deadline to conduct these investigations, a deadline that's laid out in her remedial orders. She demanded the state pay $50,000 a day for each of those violations.
Well, we know the state almost immediately filed a response. What are they saying about the order?
Josh, just a day after Judge Jack issued her order, the state was already asking the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals for a stay, or a block, basically, of those fines pending an appeal. Now they're arguing, as they have in the past, that the state has taken extraordinary measures and spent more than $100 million to make these reforms. They say they are in 90% compliance of 12 of her orders, and they also note that they're making progress on other remedial orders. The filing points to previous court records saying they also want to flag serious federalism concerns when a federal court exercises near perpetual oversight of an area of core state responsibility, like the already complex child welfare system. Plus, the filing also noted that the public interest will suffer from harm to state budgets because of the hefty nature of these fines. And the Fifth Circuit agreed, halting those fines temporarily.
So if this is temporary, what comes next and when?
That's the big question, right? We're looking ahead. We're expecting those parties to file responses later on this week. We're also going to hear from the attorneys representing Governor Abbott and other child welfare officials as well in those filings. Plus, the attorneys for the children in the ongoing foster care lawsuit are expected to file a response as well. And there is another hearing on this case that'll take up even more complex issues. That is scheduled for June.
All right, Avery, thank you very much. A different part of the lawsuit focuses on children without placement, or CWAP. These are children the state is housing in rentals or hotels, as it does not have another placement for them. New videos from inside these unlicensed locations, plus a first-hand account from a foster child, seem to show these long-documented problems persist. Jayla Washington heard from advocates on this issue and has more about how the state says it's addressing the need.
They don't give you stuff. Rotten food, molded food in the fridge.
This video was recorded by Texas human rights activist Dr. Candace Matthews in early April. She says she took it at a temporary home for a child without placement, or CWAP, in Austin.
They never come through with groceries.
It's a rare glimpse for the public of a first-hand account from a child currently in the Texas foster care system. One of at least 30 children across the state who Matthews says found her social media posts advocating for transparency, reaching out to her from CWOP Temporary Homes asking for help.
But what really got us was when you actually put your eyes on it.
Matthews and a group of human rights advocates visited 2 CWOP temporary homes in Austin. She says to see for herself what the children said they were experiencing.
When children call and tell us that they're not eating, when children call and tell us that, none of their needs are being met, we have every right to go up there.
She says they took photos like these of empty refrigerators and blamed poor living conditions on Health and Human Services, as well as the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. And the conditions are similar to those documented at a CWOP location in Bell County. That's according to court records filed late last year. We heard similar concerns echoed at a December court hearing in the long-standing lawsuit over the treatment of these children. In a statement, DFPS said, what the videos show are the living quarters of active youth and their CPS caseworkers, as the videos also selectively show multiple caseworkers and DFPS employees are assigned to each CWOP location with groceries, snacks, and meals provided by CPS. The statement says in one of the videos, the caseworker is heard commenting on a pending HEB grocery delivery, and that all are checked for food and cleanliness by CPS staff. DFPS also told us that security is provided at each CWOP location and was successful at stopping one of the unauthorized visits on Friday. That video was not shown, but we will be reviewing security at all CWOP locations to discourage trespassing. Still, advocates like Chaz Moore from the Austin Justice Coalition are pushing for more transparency.
The least we can do is make sure that our kids are as comfortable as they can dealing with life stress and dealing with the hardships that life comes at them.
Jayla Washington, State of Texas.
We reached out to DFPS to respond to the advocates' videos and our questions. They sent a statement saying CWOP continues to be a top priority for DFPS and nonstop 24/7 efforts are paying off, adding that on April 8th, only 15 children were counted in the entire state, the lowest number since 2021. For comparison, data we brought you last year found the state reporting an average of more than 60 children without placement on any given night. When it comes to campaigns in Texas, cash is king. The big race for Senate is no exception. We look at why it could take record-breaking fundraising to win. Plus, the Lone Star State gets a big boost for its push to become a global leader in semiconductors, the new funds propelling the state toward the goal. And a warning about the psychological risk of social media on children. It's a new report, but parents and lawmakers are already taking action.